Seventh chords also have figured bass symbols that you need to learn. Let's take, for example, our G7 chord. There we go, root, third, fifth, seventh. When the root of the chord is in the bass, we call it root position. And the figured bass that goes with this, the full figured bass symbol, is 7-5-3. Why? Because there's a third above the bass, a fifth above the bass, and a seventh above the bass. First inversion, just like triads, means that the third of the chord is in the bass, in this case B. Let's figure out what the figured bass symbols are that go with it. We have a third above the bass, we have a fifth above the bass, and we have a sixth above the bass. So our answer is 6-5-3. For second inversion chords, the fifth of the chord is in the bass. With our G7 example, that means D is in the bass. And our figured bass symbol, the full one that goes with it, is 6-4-3. And finally, unlike triads, seventh chords have the possibility of third inversion when the seventh of the chord is in the bass. In this case, with the G7 chord, that means F is in the bass. And the figured bass symbol that goes with that is 6-4-2. Why? Because there's a second above the bass, a fourth, and a sixth. Like triads, we don't use the full figured bass symbols for seventh chords. There are abbreviated versions that we're going to need to memorize. I will start with root position. Just like the triads, we omit the 5 and the 3, but you do need to put the 7 in because that's what shows it's seventh chord. First inversion, we use the symbol 6-5. Just like the triad, we understand the third to be implied. For second inversion, we use the symbol 4-3. In this case, the sixth is implied. And similarly, for third inversion, we use the symbol 4-2. The sixth is implied. There's an interesting way to memorize this. So look at how these numbers form a pattern. If you count down from 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, add a 4, and then a 2, and you remember the root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, that's a way you can quickly memorize the symbols that go with each of these positions. Your next task is going to be to memorize these symbols. I want you to be very fluent with them. And the other thing to remember is that when we talk about root position, first, second, and third inversion, we are referring to designating chords by which member is sounding lowest that we see in the bass part. So root position always means the root is the lowest sounding note. First inversion means the third of the chord is the lowest sounding note. Second inversion means that the fifth of the chord is the lowest sounding note, and for seventh chords, the third inversion refers to the seventh of the chord being the bass note or the lowest sounding note. And this will be true regardless of what notes are doubled or how the chord is voiced.